All right, what's going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today we are going to get nerdy about some RC crawler tires. Now these are all my custom products that I offer through westdesertwheeler.com, and these are all what I call cut-and-shuts. Now that term is used in the industry, however it's not absolutely correct, as the original cut-and-shut was actually taking a standard size tire and then you cut a piece out of it and you actually shrink it. So that's what a cut-and-shut truly is. But for these, I do the opposite. I cut a tire and then I take an insert out of a donor tire and then I glue that into the tire. So we make the tire larger. Now by doing that, all we're really doing is making the inside bead taller, and then that stretches all the other part of the tire out to make it taller, and then you fill that gap with another piece of a tire. So all you're doing is making it taller. You are not affecting the width of the tire at all. So that's what a cut-and-shut is. You can probably see here on this tire, right to the left of the Pro, right there, and then it says Pro L, and then the words restart, so Pro Line. So this is the donor section of the tire that I added to this tire to make it taller, and I glued it up across the sidewalls, up through the tread there, and that's another part of what we're going to talk about here today. So this is a Proline Aztec tire. This is the first time this has been seen as a cut-and-shut here on my channel, and this is my very first prototype tire. I'm going to finish up another 3 of these, and I'm actually going to go use these and run with them in a future video. This is going to be my set of Proline Aztec tires. This one's pretty interesting, this tire design itself, because most Proline tires have an alternating tread design. So like the shoulder pieces of the tire, let's see if I can show you here. The Swamper's a good one. So you can see how there's a tall lug and a short lug and a tall one, and it alternates back and forth. The Aztec is the exact same shoulder lug design, and across the tread, every row is identical to the next one. So these were pretty interesting that you can choose the exact cut-and-shut size that you want. That's something we should just go ahead and cover right now. I will not make cut-and-shuts that are not a perfectly repeating tread pattern, and you have to make the insert according to where that pattern repeats. So typically I end up, using I typically end up using 4 lugs of the tire as the insert. Some are different, depends on the exact tire. But overall, generally that's what I do. If the tread design does not allow me to make the correct size insert, I cannot make that a cut-and-shut. And that's just a personal thing I do, that it has to look correct. It has to be a perfectly repeating tread pattern for my quality standards. So that's why I may not offer some tires in a cut-and-shut. Now the Super Swamper I did not offer for a very long time, and that is because the bead is just ever so slightly oversized. Now that's just me, I didn't want to offer that, but I started running them myself. My friends over at Rock Pirates RC also had a set. And truthfully, I haven't had anybody really have any issues where the bead doesn't work, but it's just ever so slightly oversized compared to all my other cut-and-shuts, which are typically just a friction fit. The bead lock ring, you have to just kind of pull the tire up and around it just a little bit. They're a very snug fit down into the bead. So those are the reasons why I will not make some cut-and-shuts. So let's talk about other cut-and-shuts that I offer. So right up here, we've got a Proline Trencher. This is one of my least common... Sydney, will you lay down? This is one of my least common tires that I get asked about, so I don't make a ton of these. I have done a few batches of them. There are quite a few out there. For the people who love the Trencher, I can do them. They work out just fine, and I've made these in G8 and Predator compound. Overall, these turn out to be a 5.35-inch tall tire, and of course, a 2.2 bead. All of my cut-and-shuts are going to be a 2.2 bead, and that's because they start as a 1.9 wheel, and then I expand them out to be a 2.2. So for the rest of the tires, these are all 2.2s. So let's cover all our tire designs and how that works. So 5.35 tall for the Proline Trencher. Right here we got a J-Concepts Tusk tire. J-Concepts currently makes a 2.2 5.25 tall tire. This is my own cut-and-shut one that I did myself. J-Concepts is horrible with keeping things in inventory. I would have loved to have made batches of these, but I had ordered 27 sets of these things, and I never received them in the months of waiting. And then finally, they just came out with the tire on their own. It's cool that they made that tire size, but even that one is very hard to find in stock. J Concepts really needs to up their game when it comes to keeping things in stock. Here are some spec RC wheels that I had custom Cerakoted. They look fantastic. So yeah, another set of spec RC wheels there. And of course, they're filled with our SL3D RC squid inserts. That's a really big common question I get on these is what foams should I use in the Cut'N'Shuts? You go to SL3D RC. There are other 3D printed tire options out there as well, but I work pretty closely with SL3D to make sure everything is sized correctly. Most of the Cut'N'Shuts use the crawler insert. The Trepadors have their own because they're a taller tire, as well as these Baja Pro X. Those are the biggest Cut'N'Shut I offer, so they have their own insert as well. But SL3D has the specs for them. They're available on their site. They are under their own category of WDW Cut'N'Shut inserts. So it's not under the 2.2s or whatever. It's under its own page that is pretty easy to find once you know that you're looking for that. So overall, the J Concepts Tusk tire was fun to do. I made a couple sets for a few different people, but just inventory was so bad that they could not keep up with it, so I never could truly offer this as an option. And here I think we will all recognize what this is. This is a Proline crawler tire. This one happens to be in G8. This is off my UC Fab buggy, and this one is on a spec RC 2.2 wheel as well. Beautiful combo. This tire I have made the absolute most of. I've got a set right here that I'm ready to sell. I'm going to be doing another batch here soon. I've sold hundreds of these G8 tires. These things do awesome. They fly off the shelf. The reason my site always says out of stock is because as soon as they're in stock, people are buying them up. And I'm really grateful for that. You guys are awesome for doing that. But this is my choice for my favorite tire out here in my location. And apparently it works really well in a lot of places. The Proline Crawler is a fantastic tire and could not recommend it more as a Cut'N'Shut. 5.25, there's just a little bit of magic in these. These things work so excellent. And if you're out there where you need Predator, I rarely do Predator, but I have done them. I've probably made, probably 50 sets or so of Predator at this point. But pretty cool. Most of the time I'm doing G8 just because that's what sells the fastest. So G8 is my preference out here, and for a lot of other people it seems to work well for them too. The Proline Crawler is a 5.25 overall height. We've got our Swamper here. We already talked about the insert on the Swamper. This one is just a little bit taller. That also comes into play with that bead being just a little bit bigger than the crawlers. And this one comes out to 5.35 tall. It's also a little bit bubblier of a tire. So as you stretch it out, it kind of actually domes a little bit more. That's kind of consistent in all the Cut'N'Shuts, is the tire shape itself will get a little bit of a crown to the tread on it. So the Swamper is a 5.35. Then we've got one of our more recent releases from Proline, and that is the Proline Trepador. Great looking tire, and thanks to UC Fab for pointing this out. My Cut'N'Shut is actually the most scale version of a Trepador you can get because he counted the individual lugs on his actual buggy, and this is a closer count as far as the lugs are concerned to a real car. So I don't remember exactly whatever it was. I think mine had like 40 or something, and the real ones have like 42 or something like that. But the factory tire has, say, 36. These are just numbers I'm throwing at the wall. But I think that's pretty close to what he mentioned there. But I thought that was very funny. This is a Spec RC 2.2 as well, and scale hardware on these too. These ones are just a little bit taller because these tires start out as a taller tire. So if you start with a bigger 1.9, by the time you stretch it and make it bigger, you get an even bigger Cut'N'Shut. So like it's proportional to the height of the tire. This guy starts as a 4.9 inch tire. So by the time I Cut'N'Shut it, you get a taller Cut'N'Shut. So this is a 5.4 tire. These work really well on longer wheelbases, wider trucks. Now, typically Cut'N'Shuts, that's what I recommend them for. Something like Capra's, the Vanquish H10 Optics, custom builds with longer wheelbases or just wider track widths, I think proportionally look really good on these. Whereas like if you have, I don't know, an SCX10 Pro on straight axles, I wouldn't really recommend Cut'N'Shuts with a standard width SCX10 Pro. Of course, it's your truck, you can do what you want, but for me, proportionally is really what I care about, and I wanted a set of these to make the look right on the Capra, and then I found all sorts of builds where they look great on there as well. And not only that, the performance is absolutely here with these things. All the Cut'N'Shuts just work really, really good because you're going up to a 2.2, you're gaining tire height, but you're not going so tall that like all the big factory 2.2s, like the 5.6, the 5.7 tall tires, those things will lift your truck so much that they kill your center of gravity. Your truck becomes a lot more tipsy and rolls over easier. This is just enough of a lift that it helps you get more bite on taller ledges and whatnot, and it allows you to climb bigger obstacles, but it doesn't lift your truck so high off the ground that you kill your performance. So that's why I really like Cut'N'Shuts. And then here we have the big dog. This is the biggest Cut'N'Shut that I offer. This is a Proline Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X Tire. This one is actually in Predator compound. I pretty rarely do these. I did a couple batches of them to get them out there. They did okay. I haven't had a lot of people ask me lately for any. I can definitely do them, but you know, if the demand isn't there, my time is better spent on the tires that are in demand, like the crawlers and the the Swampers, the Trepadors. Those are the three that I really cycle through the most. If you follow me on Instagram at West Desert Wheeler, that's where you will find the current updates on what's coming up, when they're available. I'll usually make a reel post if a batch is available and things like that. So follow me on Instagram if you're interested in Cut'N'Shuts. So again, I got a video coming up on these Proline Aztec tires. These should be pretty fun. As cutting, you do learn some things doing Cut'N'Shuts because I actually cut tires apart where a lot of people don't. These are a very interesting tire. Actually, I think we've got one sitting right over here, so let's just talk about it now. All right, so these have a bit of ribbing on the inside of this sidewall. You can see that's where it is on the sidewall. So you're gonna get less wrinkling on the sidewall as well. And then looking at the thickness of the rubber, the camera is going to be very hard to pick this up. But because of that ribbing, it makes the sidewall much thicker here, down here by the bead, support the tire. But then the actual carcass of the tire up at the tread is thinner than most other Proline tires as well. So these are going to really conform well where the tread is. And then you have these stepped lugs. And this is like something similar to a Hyrax tire, something similar to the J-Concepts Tusk tire, where they have that stepped lug. I think these are actually going to perform noticeably better than Trepadors. Now this is just guessing game right here. The Trepadors are a very thick carcass tire and just big chunky tread blocks. Like these tires don't conform quite as much as others. The sidewall grip on these is amazing. These are really good. But as far as a flat surface, if I'm climbing up just a steep flat rock, the crawlers definitely outperform the Trepadors. Now, I know a lot of people just go off tires based on, you know, what they look like. I'm completely guilty of that. That's pretty much how I pick all my tires, is I want something that looks cool. It just happens that the BFG crawler looks great and performs great. But the sidewall performance on the Trepador is better than the crawler. So, you know, you got to pick and choose your battles here. But I really have high hopes for these things. They're not my favorite looking tires. They're good enough looking. They are directional with their chevron pattern like a Trepador. Of course, you can run it this way or you can run it this way, whatever you want to do. I'm going to run the chevron, the V facing forward on the biting edge. We're going to start out that way and see how it goes. But going to get a full set of those whipped up. Going to get more of these crawlers made so I can get those posted on the website. I hope this answered some of your guys' question on the Cut'N'Shuts that I offer on westdesertwheeler.com. I greatly appreciate your guys' support. You guys have really made a lot happen for me this year. You know, I'm a small business owner and YouTube content creator, and that's it, guys. That's how I'm making my living now. You guys are making it happen. I really appreciate all the support. Of course, check out westdesertwheeler.com. I've got something as small and simple as a sticker pack if you want. And then, of course, we've got other cool things in the works as well. So we will see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.